Hello, this is Chris with CricketUsers.com. Today we're going to do some quick benchmark tests. We've got the Virgin Motorola Triumph on the left. That phone is a little difficult to flash to Cricket. You might have problems getting the data working. Since we didn't want to ruin it and we need it for our other forum, we didn't really experiment with it. In the middle is the Sprint Motorola Photon 4G. We did have a problem flashing the data portion onto this, and we're going to be passing it on to a developer. And on the right is the HTC Evo 3D, which we had no problems fully flashing on the $45 or $55 plan. Looking at the devices real quick, the Motorola Photon 4G is a little bit wider than the HTC Evo 3D. If it wasn't for this little camera bulge right there, the Evo 3D would be not as thick as the Photon 4G. It actually is a little bit slimmer towards the bottom when laid down, and a little bit stands up a little bit taller towards the top just because of that. You can see the Photon 4G is a little bit wider. The Motorola Triumph is definitely the slimmest device, and it comes in about almost the same width as the Photon 4G. See all the devices stacked up. Anyways, on to the benchmarks. We will start with quadrant. Actually, it's unfortunate. We'll have to take these devices off airplane mode for this test, and we're just going to connect them to Wi-Fi. The Motorola Triumph should be sporting a Scorpion 1 GHz single core processor. It also has a separate GPU, 205 Adreno GPU. The Photon 4G sports a NVIDIA Tegra 2 processor, dual core running at 1 GHz. And on the right, the Evo 3D has a 1.2 GHz dual core Snapdragon processor. We'll run this test twice. You'll see some notifications coming on some of the phones, perhaps, because the ones on the outside, they're actually hooked up with Gmail and some other stuff. They're actually phones that are being used daily by us. And since we weren't able to flash the Photon 4G, we aren't using it. The Photon 4G came in with a score of 2346, and the Evo 3D had a score of 1789, and for some reason the Triumph failed connecting to Quadrant servers. So we will run this one more time. Hopefully this video also gives you a good look at how the screens compare to each other. I believe the contrast is a little bit better on the Photon 4G compared to the Evo 3D. The Photon 4G came in with 2642 and the Evo 3D with 2153 that time. And the Triumph failed to call again, so I'm going to reset the Wi-Fi on it. Alright, so we didn't actually reset the Wi-Fi on the Triumph. We just ran it again, and it came in with a score of 1761, which is not bad for a single core processor. Let's go ahead and move on to the next benchmark. And the next one we're going to run is LinPack. First we'll run the single thread for each one. Alright, the Motorola Triumph came in last with a score, or MFLOP score of 33.831, and then the Motorola Photon 4G with 40.15, and then the Evo 3D on top with 43.892. Run it one more time. 36.386, 40.208, and 45.12. Then we'll run the multi-thread on these two devices. Score of 48.818 and 65.254. Says inconsistent result. We'll just run it one more time. Score 51.866 and 73.718. Now for our last benchmark, we'll run NeoCore. See if we can start these at the same time. So, surprise, surprise, the Triumph came in with the highest score at 61.1 frames per second. The Photon 4G came in third with 53.7 frames per second. And the Evo 3D came in second with 59.9 frames per second. We'll run it one more time. Again, the Triumph came in first with 61.4 frames per second, and the Evo 3D in second with 59.9 frames per second, and the Photon 4G last with 53.8 frames per second. Looks like there might be some kind of limit on the Evo 3D. It comes up with consistent 59.9 frame per second results. Anyways, for more information about Cricket Wireless, flash and phones, and whatnot, please visit cricketusers.com. subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the latest things we're working on, and like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Cricket users. Again, unfortunately, the Photon 4G looks to be like a really good phone. However, it doesn't seem like it's going to be easy to flash over to Cricket. Talk and text is easy, and anything else will probably be difficult.